YouTube, what's going on? It's J&A Exotics and welcome back. Now, I don't really want to get into the habit of posting multiple times a week just right now. I think what I'm doing is pretty manageable, but I did want to put a reptile room tour out towards the beginning of the month rather than right in the middle or towards the end. I just thought it made more sense. So I'm going to walk through the enclosures with you guys, show you whoever happens to be out. I'm also going to be talking about future plans and what J&A Exotics has in store for you guys. Now, just keep in mind, I'm fresh out of work, so whatever the enclosures look like is what they look like. I haven't changed out any of the water bowls yet. I haven't sprayed any of the enclosures down. So if there happens to be a few pieces of substrate in the water, don't freak out. It is what it is. I mean, they're animals. They're going to be active while I'm not home, obviously. I do happen to keep my animals extremely neat and clean because you should. But with all that being said, let's get into the reptile room tour. So, because I record in front of this every single time I make a video and I'm already here, we are going to start off today with the green-keeled bellied lizards. These guys are a personal favorite of mine. I love these guys so much. They are an incredible species. If you're looking into getting green-keeleds, I highly recommend them. I can't recommend them enough. They are great. They honestly took over emerald tree skinks for my favorite lizard, but that's enough of that. You guys aren't going to be able to see them right now, but they are currently in this cork round. I don't want to freak them out too much, but I will take the camera off the tripod, bring you guys inside of the enclosure and show you them. These guys are currently being housed in a Zoomed paludarium, a 36 by 18 by 36 front opening enclosure. Up top, we have the Zoomed T5 5.0 UVB. I have their 75 watt heat bulb in this stone fixture here. There's an LED strip up top for light. And you're probably not going to be able to see it, but I do have a secondary basking spot that's currently not on because the house is warm. But that is a 25 watt halogen bulb. Now, I do have you guys off the tripod. I'm going to try to get a closer look at the green keels. I can see them in the cork rounds. I see one of their heads right here. But before I show you them, I just wanted to point out I have an Exoterra Monsoon misting system in this enclosure. I have a nozzle here, and a nozzle here. Now, I want to just point out that the Exoterra Monsoon, I read and saw nothing but terrible reviews on this product. Mine is about 4 or 5 years old now. If you don't let the pumps run dry, it's a great product. It's going to last you. I mean, this one shows no signs of stopping. I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe I just got lucky, but overall, I'm impressed. It was only like 70 bucks when I bought it too, so you really can't go wrong. But these guys are right in here. If the camera won't focus, you guys have seen them on this channel probably enough, but I can post some shots. If I were to guess, that's the male. You can kind of see their bellies together. Right there. Now, as far as the plants go in the enclosure, I do have 2 fake vines in the corner. Those are temporary. Those are going to stay there until this pothos that I just planted right here finally takes off. I do forget the name of this pothos, so I did cheat. I looked it up. This guy right here is a Snow Queen pothos, and I picked that one over the golden pothos because the leaves look awesome. I love that white pattern throughout the leaf. I did have a palm here before. It did not do so well. I think either they destroyed it or it just didn't take. So I had this yucca tree in here now. It's been in there for some time. I know this is going to get too big for the enclosure. It will become a house plant after that, and we'll get something else for that spot. Maybe another palm. This palm right here, it's doing great. I do not know what this plant is called. I'm terrible with plants. They have their water bowl here. There are dwarf white isopods and springtails throughout this enclosure. It is 100% bioactive. And that is about it for this tank. We will jump on to the next one. Next up in the reptile room tour is our Vietnamese Mossy frogs and their brand new enclosure. Now, this is honestly probably my favorite enclosure I think I've ever made. Even though for the background, I did cheat a little. It's the Exoterra background that came with this tank. I just did the dry lock method to color it, and there's a reason for that. I'm hoping this Snow Queen pothos will take over most of the background. If it doesn't, I can plant some other plants in there in the future. They just need to be hardy because these frogs are a little on the heavy side, and I don't want to be putting any delicate plants in there that they're just going to destroy. Now, I ended up taking this piece of driftwood and I siliconed all this spiderwood in there. It's actually really sturdy. You can put some decent amount of weight on it. So this portion is supposed to look like leaves, and down below I have the spiderwood coming out looking like a root system to try to mimic their environment where they live. Now, I did try to hide where the water comes out with sphagnum moss the best I could, but I'm hoping the Java moss I put down here will eventually grow up and this entire waterfall just becomes one big mossy piece of wood. So I'm very excited about this land portion within this paludarium because I finally think I mastered the idea of it. Now I ended up taking foam board. As I went with the background, I shaped it and carved it out, used the heat gun, used the dry lock method. I got a little bit of texture in different color by putting Repti soil on the dry lock as it was still wet. Then I ended up carving little channels at the bottom of it. That way, if water happens to get in here from the frogs coming in and out, or maybe the waterfall just happens to drip that way, it just flows naturally into the water feature itself. So there's already water here. The water level that this is at the hydro ball's max level. So as long as I don't overfill the paludarium, then the land portion will never flood. So because the hydro balls is almost at the max height of the land portion that I made, I ended up building up the land portion, if you will, with cork rounds. So it almost looks like there's just a fallen down tree with moss growing on it, and all the soil is back here for the plants, and that's where my dwarf white isopods and springtails are living as well. Not sure if I did mention it, but that is just a fern. And I did mention the Snow Queen Pothos. I know I talked about the idea of it taking over the back of the enclosure. That's one of the mossy frogs there. I'm going to get better shots and incorporate them into the video. Maybe I'll just play them over this while I'm talking. Now the other mossy frog is right here. I did happen to get a chance to see these guys on the land portion last night. And boy, I know the name is mossy frogs, but these guys blend in with the moss so well. So I haven't talked about the tank size or lighting yet. These guys are housed in an 18 by 18 by 24 front opening enclosure. It's a perfect size for Vietnamese mossy frogs. Obviously, these guys don't like it warm, so I don't have a heating element on top of the enclosure. I just have an LED light just for a day and night light cycle for them and really for the plants. That's going to be it for the Vietnamese mossy frogs. Now we're going to jump on to the next tank. So this isn't a reptile. I'm going to make this quick, but I did want to show her off because all of our other animals have made their debut on the channel at least once or twice. But this is our new puppy, Ellie Bear, and Ellie Bear is a big girl. Ain't that right, baby? Hey, what are you doing? You don't like the camera? Ellie Bear is a Golden Retriever Doberman mix. She's 6 months old and she is 74 pounds. So her father was an absolute unit. And I think she's going to be a very, very big girl. So the lady we got Ellie Bear off of was 5'4", if I were to guess. But the dad came out. When that Doberman stood up, he put his paws on the girl's shoulder and he literally looked down on her. So he was a very, very big dog. It's okay though. It's okay that you're big. It's okay. She's lucky she's cute. She is a menace. So if you do hear any noise behind me, it is just her or the other 3 dogs. And I did want to show this sign off too. I don't know if I ever showed it off. It's always in the background. But my beautiful wife got me this sign for Christmas a few years back, and it is awesome. I absolutely love it. Next pet on the reptile room tour is Daisy, our bearded dragon. Now she is currently being housed in a 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot EcoFlex enclosure. I actually showed this enclosure off in a video of me building it, but I'm gonna open this up, show you guys Daisy, get some better shots of her. So this is the beautiful Daisy. She's starting to shed. She's currently basking underneath her Zoomed T5 10.0 high output UVB bulb. She has a 100-watt basking bulb, and there's also a secondary lighting fixture for when it gets cold. That is a 25-watt bulb, but that is not on at the moment. Now I did want to get the entire enclosure in the shot. She has an LED light strip that goes across the entire top of the tank. That is just for visual light, and it just makes it easier for filming, things of that nature. Now when I was designing this enclosure, I built the background and all of these shelves right here out of the insulation foam board. I believed I used the 1-inch insulation foam board, but the idea was to create these rocky looking shelves. That way she can get closer to the UVB or further away. She can even get underneath them to get completely away from the UVB if she does choose so. Now on the right side of the enclosure where the cork rounds are, this is her hot side. This is where she will come to bask. Over there is the cool side where her water bowl and feeding dishes are. I got this fake grass right here off of Amazon. I think it looks awesome. I put it in various spots throughout the enclosure. It just adds color, makes it look more natural. It kind of adds some depth. Just getting a closer look at the cool side of the enclosure. She cleaned house on her salad today, which is awesome. There is an Exoterra vine here just for more color, so it breaks up the backgrounds. Again, as you can see, I mentioned it at the beginning, there is some substrate she kicked up in her food bowl and in her water bowl. It's not really too big of a deal. I will get rid of that right after this room tour. Ain't that right, girl? She is awesome. She's looking at the camera like, is this food? Can I eat this? But we got Daisy a leash. That way she can come outside with us. It's starting to get warmer out, so she is enjoying some natural UVB rays every time she comes outside with us. So I did shut the doors. I don't really want to bother her too much. I'm going to let her shed and do her thing, give her her privacy. Now, let's move on to the next enclosure. Next up on today's reptile room tour is our emerald tree skink. Now she is currently being housed in an Exoterra 24 by 18 by 24 front opening enclosure. It is a bioactive setup. I have springtails and millbag isopods in here. There was a colony of dwarf white isopods, but I have not seen them at all. I don't think they made it. But the emerald tree skink, I know we had a little scare when we first got her. She is doing amazing. Now I brought you guys back here for a second just to get an overall shot of the tank. Right here we have a palm, we have a red nerve plant, and I'm not entirely sure what this plant was, but it kind of ran its course, and as you can see, it's on its way out. So I did try to plant another palm right here, a smaller one, but the emerald tree skink just kind of tramples it and it hasn't really been doing too good. So I'm gonna have to figure out another plant that is hardy, maybe a mother-in-law's tongue or something. That way it fills up the space, the emerald tree skink can climb on it, and it looks a little better visually. Now you guys know I like using these Exoterra hoods, not necessarily for lighting, but to use for protection against my cat. That way she doesn't go barreling through the screen and having our emerald tree skink over here for lunch. I don't think the tree skink would appreciate that, and I definitely wouldn't either. Now our emerald tree skink has her basking spot right here with a 50-watt basking bulb, and she has a 5.0 UVB and some LED lighting for the plants and a day and night light cycle. These guys are a great species to own. I hope you guys have a chance to own one one day. They're just awesome. Look at them. She's kind of being a little reclusive today. She really hasn't moved. I don't know if it's just the camera that's freaking her out. But I am going to move on to the next reptile. Next up on the reptile room tour is going to be our crested geckos. Now I can currently see my lily whites. She's right up here in the corner. I'll give you guys a closer look at her in a second, but there are 3 crested geckos housed in here. It is a breeding trio. I'm trying to get crested gecko eggs. We have 2 females to 1 male. We have a Dalmatian female that fires up a pink color. We have a Harlequin male, and we have our lily whites female that's right in the corner. Now these guys are currently being housed in an Exoterra 18 by 18 by 24 bioactive enclosure. We have dwarf white isopods and springtails in here. I'm going to give you guys a closer look. She's pretty cool. I've always wanted to own a lily whites, and when I had the opportunity to get her, I jumped right on it. I love crested geckos though. Anything from New Caledonia, you can't go wrong. New Caledonian geckos are literally the coolest geckos in the world. But she is awesome. Our other one is right down here. If I can get a shot. You gonna focus? It's our Dalmatian female, but I don't think the camera's gonna focus. Hopefully you can see her, but I'm going to put you guys back on the tripod and talk some more. Now I don't know where the male is at the moment. He's just hiding from the ladies, that's all. Now I do have multiple feeding ledges in here. That way there's just no competition for food, making sure everybody is fed properly. Now there is a trio in here, so I am monitoring them heavily. I want to make sure nothing is going wrong. If there's ever signs of aggression or signs of stress, I'm immediately going to pull that gecko out. Hopefully we can get some eggs. That'd be awesome though. Now back here, as far as plants go, we have a golden pothos, and it's starting to get new growths, which is awesome. The entire goal of putting that back there was so it takes up the entire background. That's usually why I plant the pothos plants in there. It seems to be doing the job pretty good. It's a good hardy plant. They can climb on it and it's not going to break. We have a mother-in-law's tongue that the day we bought it, my dog snapped the leaf and it never grew back. We have a croton right here that they do usually hang out underneath. Under here too, we do have this palm. I love these palms. I wanted to try to plant them in all of my tropical enclosures. And we do have this fern right here too. Both of these plants are obviously not doing great just because the crested geckos, they're not the biggest lizards in the world, but compared to these plants, they are. So they're just getting absolutely trampled. Now, as far as lighting and heating goes, to provide a proper heat gradient, we do have a 25 watt halogen bulb. It gets the job done, keeps the temperatures perfect for these guys while not going over 80 degrees. We also have an LED light for the plants. We usually have a T5 5.0 UVB bulb on as well, but it burnt out. We need to buy a new one. So currently they do not have a UVB bulb, but again, they usually have one, and we're going to get a new one. Just the bulbs are a little expensive and there's different projects going on. It is on the list though. And that is it for these guys. Now, on to the next enclosure. Next up on the room tour today, this is the reptile that literally started it all. This is my very first pet reptile. This is Charizard, my 23-year-old leopard gecko. Now, I have had scares recently where I thought Charizard was slowing down and she wasn't going to have much life left in her, but she just keeps surprising me, and she's like the Energizer Bunny. She just keeps on going. When I say scares, I noticed that she can't shed on her own anymore. Even no matter how humid the humid hide is, I always have to assist her in shedding these days. Her appetite has slowed down quite a bit. There were times where she didn't even eat for a few days on end, which also worried me. But she is 23. I wouldn't expect her to have the appetite of a 5-year-old leopard gecko. Now, Charizard is currently being housed in a 40-gallon EcoFlex enclosure. I don't think I mentioned the name of Daisy's enclosure up above, but it is also an EcoFlex enclosure. EcoFlex, if you're watching, please sponsor me. I love your products. But EcoFlex creates an affordable, reliable enclosure that clearly lasts. I've had this one for over a year now. I've moved it several times. There have been no issues. You do need to silicone some of the cracks, but overall, these enclosures, for what you pay, they're incredible. Now, I did go for a naturalistic setup when setting up Charizard's enclosure. I have some of that same fake grass, Exoterra leaves here. That's an Exoterra fern. More Exoterra leaves there. Just creates some color and depth in the enclosure. Over here, this is her hot side of the enclosure. She loves sitting in this tube underneath her basking bulb. And then this is like an intermediate kind of warm hide. This round right here, this is her humid hide, and this is her cool hide. She can also hide right back here underneath the leaves and the fern if she does so choose. Right there, this is her worm dish, and it has some calcium in it. And I use another shallow worm dish for water for her. Now, as far as the lighting goes, there is a 25 watt halogen bulb up top. There is a 5.0 UVB, so if she does happen to come out during the day, she can get some exposure to the UVB rays, which will benefit her health. And there is also an LED light up top just for visual day and night light cycles. Now, I am going to try my best to lure her out. Now, I was going to try to lure her out. You can see her tail right there, but you can tell by the coloration that she's about to shed too, so I don't want to bother her too much. At least you got to see Charizard's tail. She loves hanging out in this cork round right here. You know, she gets the warmth from the light, and she can stay safe and secure, which is important. I want her to feel as comfortable as possible. So that is about it with Charizard. I really do hope I get many more days with her. I'm thankful for the days that I already have had. I mean, I did not expect when I got this leopard gecko as a child that it would literally be with me until I was almost 30. But nevertheless, here she is, and it's been a journey. I'm so grateful for her. Really, if it wasn't for Charizard and Steve Irwin, obviously, I don't think I would be as into reptiles as I am now. She literally opened the floodgates. After seeing how awesome they are, I literally couldn't stop researching about them, and I just wanted more and more and more. And here I am. I'm turning 30 this year, and I am still heavily involved in reptiles. Daisy's up there making a bunch of noise. Now, we will be moving on to the next enclosure. Next up, the final enclosure of today's reptile room tour. Being housed in this 12 by 12 by 18 front opening enclosure are our two Gargoyle Geckos. Now, these two are new additions. I love Gargoyle Geckos. I've been looking for some at a decent price. I feel like they've been expensive lately. I got these two for a deal, so I jumped on it. Now, I do understand, yes, this enclosure is not adequate for them for their entire lives. I do have a plan. I'm going to try to keep these guys housed together. Younger gargoyle geckos do have a tendency to be a bit more nippy, if you will, but there have been zero signs of aggression. So far, so good. Offering multiple food sources, they honestly clean house. I'm obviously paying attention to their sex as well. They both appear to be female, and if they're both female, I would like to get a male. That way we can breed some gargoyle geckos. That'd be pretty cool. Now, not sure if I did mention it, but it's a bioactive enclosure. Dwarf white isopods and springtails do live in here. So as far as plants go within this enclosure, we have this elephant ear right here, which looks amazing. I love that plant. I honestly just want to get red-eye tree frogs and have these plants in there because they would utilize the bottom of this leaf so well. I have this Snow Queen pothos as well in here. That's going to get way too big, way too fast if I don't keep up on it. So I am going to have to prune that a lot. When the gargoyle geckos outgrow this enclosure, I'm going to use it for something else. If these gargoyle geckos do get along and there is zero hostility towards each other, I will be monitoring their behavior closely, obviously. The ultimate goal is to put them in the EcoFlex Madagascar tank, I believe it's called. It's 36 inches tall, 24 inches wide, and 18 inches deep, which is plenty of room for 2 gargoyle geckos to live in. Now this is one of the geckos right there. Awesome looking. Again, I love gargoyle geckos. They have that little pot belly on them. I love it so much. Nice little oranges on it. It's not the most incredible pattern, but honestly, that is not why I bought it. I bought it just to have one. I love their eyes too. They have those silvery gray eyes. Down bottom here, I did happen to notice the other one. This guy has a pretty cool pattern. Or this girl has a pretty cool pattern. Some solid stripes going down. Little hints of orange. I'm focusing on the cork round. Again, I have said this time and time again. I love New Caledonian geckos. I don't say it just to say it. I literally want an entire room dedicated just to New Caledonian species. I would have so many of them if I could afford it. But they are truly some of the coolest geckos you could possibly own. I do like these guys substantially more than crested geckos though. Just a personal opinion. Crested geckos, there's nothing wrong with them. Obviously, I own 3. I love them. There's a wide variety of morphs, but there's just something about gargoyle geckos I like a lot more. I really don't know why. So I did put you guys back up on the tripod just because it makes talking and filming a little more easier. Multitasking can be hard sometimes. I'm sure you guys all know that. I'd have the camera swaying back and forth. That's enough of that. But as far as heating fixtures go and lighting fixtures go on this enclosure, heating fixtures, there are none yet. It's May, it's starting to get warmer outside here in Massachusetts. My house is staying warm, the central air is not on yet. Trying to save money on electricity, if you will. So the enclosure is staying the perfect temperature for them right now. When we turn our central air on, I'm going to have a Zoom Med nano bulb, which is far weaker than a halogen bulb. That way I don't cook these guys. This enclosure right here, it is a small enclosure. It's going to be an oven. I don't want that to happen. After a few months in here, these guys start to grow and gain weight. Everything goes according to plan. They will be going in their fully kitted new enclosure. So there you guys have it. That is my reptile room tour for May 2025. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell down below so you don't miss out on any videos, and I'll see you in the next one.